Welcome to Civilspedia, the current affairs digital library. In today's discussion, we'll be looking at Global Carbon Project, the Witness Protection Scheme 2018, and Restricted Area Permit, and finally we'll discuss monetary policy versus the fiscal policy. First, let us look at the Global Carbon Project. It was established in the year 2001 through a shared partnership of 4 programs. One, the International Geosphere Biosphere Program, and then International Human Dimension Program on Global Environmental Change, and World Climate Research Program, and another program by the name Diversitas. But these 4 programs constituted a partnership named Earth System and Science Program, which finally evolved into an organization called as Future Earth. And so we can simply say this Global Carbon Project is a global research project of this institution called, international institution called Future Earth. And the objectives, coming to the objectives, the Global Carbon Project seeks to develop a complete picture of the global carbon cycle. And it also aims to slow down and ultimately stop the increase of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Of the several greenhouse gases, 3 main important gases according to Global Carbon Project, which it seeks to ultimately stop the increase, is carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. And from prelims point of view, we also should note some of the other important activities. So they are also publishing this carbon budget, methane budget, and nitrous oxide budget, and also carbon atlas. Recently it is in news because the researchers of this project have stated that in 2017 India stood 3rd in carbon emissions among the countries in the world, with China topping the list and with the United States following next. US has around 1/3, approximately 1/3 of population of India, but still stands 2nd in terms of carbon emission. We, even though we have 3 times the population of US, stand only 3rd in terms of carbon emissions. And next, we will discuss the Witness Protection Scheme 2018. Very recently, the Supreme Court has stated that it will come into effect immediately. It has approved the draft of the Witness Protection Scheme 2018 submitted by the Government of India. And before going to that, whenever a victim enters the police station to file a complaint for an offense, the police gets the complaint and registers it as first information report. And once the first information report is filed, it is registered, then it will be given a crime number for which the police authorities are answerable, because it will be recorded by National Crime Records Bureau. It will become part of official statistic. So immediately after filing a FIR, police have to arrest the accused or the person alleged to have committed the crime, and the police will start the investigation. After the completion of investigation, or immediately after the completion of investigation, say for example it takes 6 months to investigate, and at the end of the investigation, police will submit final report or charge sheet at the court. Only after the completion of this investigation and submission of charge sheet, trial begins at a court. And then prosecution comes to the picture. At the end of prosecution, the court pronounces judgment and also sentences the offender and found guilty with the accused. Otherwise, if this doesn't find guilty, the case ends in acquittal. Alright, then it goes to appeal. So whatever the case is, from the beginning of FIR till the end of the case in appeal, for example, say in Supreme Court, say for example a case takes around 10 years, it is the witness who's very crucial to ensure, to carry forward this investigation and prosecution, to ensure justice to the victim or conviction to the criminal. All right. Therefore, classical criminologist Jeremy Bentham has stated, witness are the eyes and ears of justice. So witnesses are very important. Most normal cases, most of the people do not come as witness, because when the police visit a place after a murder, no one will be there. Every homes will be locked, because we do not have a witness protection scheme till now. But very recently it was approved by Supreme Court and it came into immediate effect. It should have been normally containing provisions. We do not have official copy of present victim compensation scheme, witness protection scheme, although we have a draft which was prepared by NALSA, National Legal Service Authority, which classifies the witness into three categories. Category A, for witnesses who face life-threatening, witness or his family life-threatening throughout the process of investigation, prosecution, and even after. And category B, the victim or the family of victims who face damage to property, safety, and reputation through the process of investigation and prosecution only. And the third category who face moderate level of this threatening, and also who faces harassment during only the process of investigation. We expect that it will also have this witness protection fund, witness assistance fund also, because it is important for a witness to come and participate in investigation or in prosecution or trial. They have to be paid or financially reimbursed their travel expenses and others. So we hope this witness protection scheme will have those information. And whenever a case ends in acquittal, that is, whenever a offender or whenever the accused is not found guilty. Therefore, in the year 2014, the Supreme Court, in the case law of State of Gujarat versus Kishanbhai, etc., has stated that every state, through its home department, every home department of the state has to establish a state-level standing committee to fix the responsibility of authorities why a case ends in acquittal. Because whenever a case ends in acquittal, it means justice system has failed, and also it means an innocent has been prosecuted, arrested, investigated, and prosecuted. And therefore, this standing committee has to ensure and to take departmental actions against those responsibilities whose negligence or whose ineffectiveness has ended in acquittal. This is one special thing. So in Tamil Nadu, we have district level standing committees to ensure this task. And the state government has stated in a circular memorandum that every year 70,000 cases end in acquittal in Tamil Nadu. And therefore, it could not have a state level standing committee. Rather, it can create a district level standing committee in the state of Tamil Nadu. And we saw how important is the victim in the process of right from the registration of FIR till the conviction of the accused or the offender. With this, we come to the end of this witness protection scheme. And we should note that this is the first time something related to victim has been carried out at the national level. Although we have Code of Criminal Procedure to deal with procedure for criminal, we do have certain provisions for victims and witnesses in there, very few sections. We do not have an exclusive policy or a scheme for witnesses or victims, which is still, the case for victims. We do not have a nationwide victim law or policy for victims, other than few provisions in Code of Criminal Procedure. Here we have witness protection scheme exclusively for witnesses. And the Supreme Court has stated that the Parliament has to enact suitable legislation to address the grievances of witnesses and to deal with witnesses. So till that time, this witness protection scheme would continue. With this, we come to the end of this discussion. Next, we will discuss about restricted area permit. The Foreigners Restricted Areas Order of 1963 has stated that the state of Sikkim and Andaman and Nicobar Islands come under restricted areas, and any foreigner visiting there has to obtain a restricted area permit to visit the places. However, in the month of August 2018, the central government has relaxed this restricted area permit for 29 islands coming under Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And after that, this relaxation was supposed to continue till December 31 of 2022. But in few months after this relaxation of this restricted area permit for the 29 islands in Andaman and Nicobar, we found the death of United States citizen Johnny Allen by persons belonging to Sentinelese tribe from North Sentinel Island. And we have to note that even at that time, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes has warned the government, stating this is not a good step, keeping in mind the particular vulnerable tribal groups and indigenous population in mind, because various tribes in Andaman and Nicobar do not want to have any external contact with other people. And despite the warning, the government has taken this step, and we hope that, and many people hoping that, there will be relook into the changes made in the month of August, and there could be bringing up of restricted area permit again for these 29 islands. So with this, we come to the end of this discussion. And next, we'll discuss monetary policy versus fiscal policy. Before entering that, we will just discuss this monetary policy committee of RBI. Whenever we say monetary policy committee, it is not the monetary policy committee of the government. It is the monetary policy committee of the Reserve Bank of India. According to section 45 capital B of RBI Act, which was inserted by Finance Act 2016, there should be a monetary policy committee. And the primary responsibility is that the monetary policy committee shall determine the policy rate required to achieve the inflation target. This is the main objective of this main function of this monetary policy committee. And this decision of the monetary policy committee is binding on Reserve Bank. We should note that how many members are there in this committee. It consists of 6 members, right? Chairman is from RBI. The RBI governor is the chairman and a member of this monetary policy committee, and deputy governor from RBI who is in charge of this monetary policy, and then another official as nominated by the central board of RBI, and 3 other members appointed by the central government. So although we say it is monetary policy committee of the bank or the RBI, it consists of 50% of members nominated by the central government, and they are mandated to conduct at least 4 meetings in a year according to this RBI Act, and every member has 1 vote. Whenever any question comes on and decisions before this monetary policy committee, it will be taken by way of, the decision will be arrived by way of majority of votes. And in a case there is a tie or equality of votes, it is the governor of RBI who is the chairperson of this monetary policy committee who has this casting vote or shall have a second vote to arrive at a conclusion. And this monetary policy report, this is for the bank. RBI has to submit this monetary policy report once in 6 months, and it shall contain information such as sources of inflation and prediction of inflation, for a period of 6 to 18 months. 6 to 18 months from the date of publishing of this policy report, right? And with this, we come to the end of this monetary policy committee, and we will discuss who is responsible for monetary policy. It is the Reserve Bank of India. Alright, and coming to fiscal policy, fiscal policy is nothing but budgetary decision making or budgetary policy. It is not carried out by RBI, rather it is carried out by the Ministry of Finance. Alright, fiscal policy is carried out by Ministry of Finance, whereas this monetary policy comes under the purview of Reserve Bank of India. And coming to the common objectives, both the policy has common objective as economic growth and price stability. When we discuss price stability, we have to also talk about inflation control. Right? Coming to economic growth, through the monetary policy, RBI seeks to control the credit that is available through the banks. It carries out the credit control, that is, it infuses money into the people through the adjusting of various policy rates, and so that it could be productively employed in various productive sectors so that it will promote economic growth. It also provides attractive rates of interest, and thereby it makes people to save more, and therefore more money will be available for investments, and thus it will promote economic growth. Coming to equitable distribution or equitable growth, there is priority sector lending under the Reserve Bank of India, and under this, on the low income earners and also the weaker sections will get loans and other financial services from banks, and therefore it encourages them to carry out business activities or as according to their plan, and therefore it also increases their per capita income. These are some of the ways in which RBI contributes to economic growth. Coming to fiscal policy, how it contributes to economic growth? Through the budgetary allocation, through the revision of tax policy or through the revision of subsidies. These are the ways in which fiscal policy aims to attain this economic growth by allocation of various, budgetary assistance to various programs. These are the ways in which a fiscal policy aims to achieve this economic growth. We'll now discuss price stability. Here we have to keep in mind the inflation control. We see the term inflation target. We should note that when we discuss inflation target, the target for inflation is given by the government of India. It is not given by Reserve Bank of India. And it is being given by Government of India in consultation with RBI in accordance with Section 45, capital Z, capital A of RBI Act. All right. And it was the RBI which has to achieve this inflation target. At present, the inflation target is 4% with upper tolerance level of 4 plus to 6% and lower tolerance level of 4 minus to 2%. Whenever RBI could not maintain these tolerance levels or these extreme levels, it is understood that the RBI has failed to achieve this inflation target. And coming to how RBI, through its measures achieve price stability, it can carry out this process of price stability or inflation control, in other words, through adjusting or revising various rates, like bank rate, policy bank rate, repo rate, reverse repo rate, cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio, and also open market operations. For example, if there is demand, inflation because of demand, because the people do have a lot of money, then the RBI, will increase the repo rate. It is the repo rate based on which the banks borrow money from RBI. When banks has to pay heavy cost for borrowing money, then it will make people also heavy cost for borrowing money, which people will not do, and therefore it arrests inflation. We have to keep in mind the price stability by RBI is most appropriate only in the case of demand side inflation, not supply side. For it, only the Ministry of Finance will be the apt agency to do. And for example, one more example, if in open market operations where RBI sells and buys the government securities, when it buys the government securities, it means it infuses money to the public. When it sells the government securities, it takes money from the public, and therefore it makes credit control. And it also arrests appropriate inflations. And how, through fiscal policy, government controls this, ensures price stability or controls inflation, is that, it may increase the tax and reduce expenditure whenever people have a lot of money or whenever there is demand-based inflation. And when there is supply side constraint, it may reduce the tax and may provide a lot of subsidies to promote growth, to promote more production. All right. Some of other measures which will be taken by the Government of India in regarding price control is that, it may reduce import duties of foreign goods. When they reduce import duties, obviously the price of the products in the market will be reduced. And it may ban the export of other products, for essential items. Therefore, in our area, there will not be any price rise. They have also established price stabilization fund, to arrest the volatilities in prices of agricultural products. And they also provide high minimum support prices to farmers so as to encourage them or as an incentive for them to promote, more food production so that there won't be price rise or there will be price stability. These are some of the ways in which, the government, through the fiscal policy by Ministry of Finance, is carrying out this price stability. And coming to the components, we have discussed few. Under monetary policy, we see bank rate, open market operations, CRR, cash reserve ratio, the bank maintaining cash reserves with the RBI, and SLR, and repo rate and reverse repo rate. These are components which come under monetary policy. And under fiscal policy, components terms such as budget, direct taxes, indirect taxes, taxation policy, expenditure policy. And these are the terms. Public finance, when we mean public finance, finance of the government, not finance of the RBI, so finance of the government, public debt, debt of the government, and these are some of the terms which are associated with fiscal policy. In the year 2015, there was a prelims question, and this is what they have asked. With reference to Indian economy, consider the following. Which of the above are components of monetary policy? So anyone who know anyone, either public debt or public revenue, which come under fiscal policy, the probability of hitting the correct answer would have been increased by 50% because they could easily eliminate these two options. Because they say option 3 and option 4, which are wrong, which do not come under monetary policy. All right. And therefore, we eliminate option B and C. Therefore, we have only 1 and 2. That's why we have probability of 50%. Therefore, if an answer is correct, answer is C. Both bank rate and open market operations come under monetary policy. Thus, we can solve this question. With this, we come to the end of today's discussion. We discussed about witness protection scheme, global carbon project, and restricted area permit. And finally, there was monetary policy versus fiscal policy. And the PowerPoint presentation in the form of PDF has been attached with the YouTube link, and you may take that for your reference. We request you to share this video, comment the video, and also subscribe to the Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel for more updates and videos. Thank you.